Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new and improved Blockbuster Banter. I'm your host, Anubis McGarvner, here with the co-host.
Tyler, but I'm never gonna get it right. Garver. I'm just gonna use my name for this one.
We're here in a beautiful, beautiful recording studio. We're mic'd up. We got cameras. We got a camera here, camera there, camera there. We have a green screen. We have the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm. Thank you to my friend Anthony for getting us into the DMC at Western Washington. And we will be using this for as long as possible.
We're going to be milking it as long as we can.
Well, you know what we'll do when after I graduate and we no longer have access to the DMC? We'll record just 70 videos.
Okay.
And we'll just have that backlogged.
Yeah. We're gonna rent the space out from 12 a.m. to 12 a.m.
Yep.
And just do every episode from there.
Every single episode for like a year.
Sounds like a plan.
Cool.
Doesn't sound bad to me. Today, I bring with us Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, and friends, etc.
And friends, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh,
you forgot about Aaron
my
Taylor?
biggest man crush in Hollywood.
Oh.
One of my biggest ones. But we'll get to that, obviously, as we all know.
Sorry, I'm like booting up the facts. I'm curious who else is in here. Winston Duke, Lee Majors. Don't know who those people are. Ben Knight. Don't know.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I know who Winston Duke is because he was the guy who played M'Baku in.
Oh, that's right. I remember.
Yeah, because we talked
that.
about that while we were watching it, that he played M'Baku.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know anyone else in this movie. Emily Blunt. No, you said Emily Blunt.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very fun one.
I'm surprised you forgot Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I am too, especially because of how much I loved him in Bullet Train, and I remember being like, "That's the dude from Bullet Train," and among other things. But that's the first thing that came to mind. But yeah, this is a very fun movie. I really like this movie.
We both do.
Yeah.
That's why we wanted to rewatch it. Despite usually one of us hasn't seen the movie, we decided both of us have seen the movie.
But it was just that good. Same thing with a few later titles, but
that is true. Yeah, we do have a few coming up.
This
one's all hosted by you.
Yeah.
I did.
Let's see. We have our notes here again. We're trying to follow a little bit more of a structure so that we have more cohesive thoughts, even though we tend to jump around because that's how the cookie crumbles. But we'll do our best to keep the idea flowing, and just keep the banter, keeping on with the banter. So, I mean, right off the bat, I really liked how the intro cinematic kind of throws in your face that this is about stunts.
Yeah,
this is about stunt movie guy.
Too.
Dude, the amount of things that those stunt people go through within the first like 10 seconds even of the film, like rolling down the hill.
Those are all from other movies too.
Oh, really?
I recognized one of the stunts from Mission Impossible, I believe, and then I recognized another one when they're on motorbikes from Fast and Furious.
Oh.
But yeah, those are all from different movies.
I didn't notice that. Yeah, like very, very intense actions. The falling down the hill, just the automotive collisions that I feel like you have to endure, and you have to be like, okay, I'm going to intentionally crash a car now.
In the movie too. What was it? 8 flips.
Yeah.
I think the one producer character said. Gail.
Fuck Gail. Yeah.
One of my my fifth note is Gail is a bitch. Like, right away.
Yeah, somewhere in here I'm like, God, why is Gail on the screen again, or something like that.
Yeah, but no, I agree with you. It's like a love letter to stunt performers.
Yeah. Which I don't know how often this has happened, like some sort of homage to the behind the scene people, but I can't think of anything other than Fall Guy, like the show from the decade of the 1900s that it's kind of referencing. Like I mentioned towards the end, one of the main characters of that show is at the very end in the epilogue. But other than that, I can't think of another thing that's like, yeah, let's just talk about stunt guys.
Yeah, I agree. Like even just behind the scenes in general, I feel like they don't get a lot of shine. I think of some movies that do it for like other fields, like I forgot what it was called, but there was this one movie about like the women at NASA behind the moon landing.
Oh, Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can think of movies like that, but I can't think of movies for like stunt people.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never even watched the Fall Guy thing that you're talking about, so.
Oh, I haven't
Like-
either. But
Oh, okay. You just know
yeah,
about
I
it?
just knew of it
Okay.
because I did a little reading as well after I watched it the first time.
Oh, okay.
But
Gotcha. Yeah, because it kind of every time you talked about that movie or that show, it kind
Yeah,
of
it
went
just
over
went-
my head. I mean, I'm not.
oh
stupid,
yeah, I was
know
just
what you're
pulling out of my
saying, but
ass. The
yeah.
like first 3 sentences of a Google search.
Yeah.
Is really what I was referencing.
Gotcha. But yeah. Right. Okay. So my next note. I remember during like the opening monologue. With Ryan Gosling, and he's like talking about his life, and he's all like, "It also helps when you have a major crush on the director."
Yeah.
And I'm all like, "Dude, in this scene, you're kissing. You do not have a crush on her. You are just above."
Which I really,
which I thought was
I
funny.
love that
just put
it's.
that as a little
I'm a
funny.
huge sucker for romance. Not even gonna lie, and I like that they made this like it's a rom com. It's a fun little rom com.
Yeah, it's like a fun action rom com.
And I like that the stakes aren't of the guy getting the girl. Like personally, I find it much more rewarding when the guy's getting the girl back.
Yeah.
Which I like is that
Yeah, 'cause he
it's a
messed up
feature of this
hard,
movie.
Bruh.
Oh yeah, but
he messed up hard.
which we come to find out is all sabotage. Well, no, his own actions and the way that he deals with it.
The way he
that was
reacted,
unreliably his
he
fault.
wouldn't react that way if those actions in the movie didn't occur.
That's so,
Which we'll get to the twist later, but the accident, like he has the accident, which I love how it was shot. It's my next note. Like it made me feel like we were really high up, especially since like we're highlighting the stunts.
Yeah.
So it was highlighting like how high up he was. I also hate heights, so I was a little spookum.
little timid.
And then he fell. I remember that when I first watched it in the theater, I like actually jumped when he fell.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just because I hate heights. That has nothing to do with anything the movie did particularly. Just I hate heights, so I get terrified when I see a dude fall down a building.
That's very fair. I like how early on, and also, like I was kind of in similar light to that. I was taken aback by how sudden these stakes were introduced. Like. First it was, oh, this is funny, you know, people fall, this is the fall guy. Like all those intro cinematics from those fake movies where he'd be tossed around or some shit. And then, like, he falls and breaks his back, and now he's on a gurney and he has tunnel vision, and then Emily Blunt's with him trying to follow him along. So I really liked how just, boom, I don't know, where it set the stakes. Because I was like, oh, there's more depth to this movie. And, which is something that I also thought throughout the thing, that there was a decent amount of depth. Like, it was it was calm, but then it was also like, there were points where I was thinking to myself, yeah, I can, you know, you can relate to the certain very adult
realistic,
relationship that these people are going through.
I agree. Speaking of him being taken away on the gurney, when Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, Tom Ryder, that gives him the thumbs up, and then Ryan Gosling does the thumbs up, that like starts that motif. And we'll talk more about it, I think, later. I just want to get that out there for later, because the thumbs up is a motif. So I want it to be a motif in the podcast too, because I wrote down every single time the thumbs up is given.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So we'll.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's why I just want to get into the thumbs up motif more later, as the movie got into it later.
When it comes
I just
up more
want
often.
to highlight, because you mentioned that you hadn't seen it while we were watching the movie.
Right.
Because I remember while we were walking out of your apartment, I was just like, oh yeah, that motif appeared really early, and you said you didn't catch that.
Yeah, I hadn't realized how early on it did.
Yeah, but I really like how early they started that. Like literally just right out the gate.
They kind of present everything that they're going to use. Maybe not everything, but they present stuff that they would like to reuse, and I like that you can call back to it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like surprisingly, things that they reused, because things that I thought were a joke ended up being part of Tom Ryder's downfall.
Yeah.
Which
Dude, prayer hands emoji. That's a quote I have down because it was so funny.
Yeah.
Because it fits Tom Ryder's character soul of like, wow, I hate this person so much because he's such a narcissist.
Yeah. But yeah, thumbs up motif pretty early on. But then just a little bit past the accident, like you were talking about, the adult relationships, and I said that I thought they were very realistic also. I think the disappearing act, that I know his name is Colt, I will not call him Colt. I'm gonna call him Ryan Gosling the whole time. But I think the disappearing act that Ryan Gosling did is like it's realistic.
It's
I feel like a lot of people do retreat like that when
it's
their
a
pride
defense
has
mechanism.
Been,
Yeah.
especially when their pride has been hurt so much.
And I can imagine as someone in Hollywood where that's something that you're like constantly thinking of as what others might perceive of you, even as a stuntman. I mean, he has a job to do, and he has to try to make the action and all of these stunts look cool. So I assume there's still some sort of amount of perception that he feels he has to maintain, or even like show off.
I agree.
The disappearing act, like you're saying, it makes sense. It's very real.
I agree. So I'm blanking. But yeah. I will say the only part that I wish about the disappearing is we got like maybe another scene or two of him just all depressed. I think it ended a little too quick, but either way.
An extra 20 minutes of exposition wouldn't have hurt, I don't think.
I don't know if I go 20.
10, 15?
I'd go with 10, 10, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a little bit longer in Act 1. Because Act 1 ends right as Gale calls.
True.
Which, my next note is, she is very, annoyingly so, and a manipulative genius.
Yeah, she's really good at what she does.
She's really good at being a manipulator. Because she says all the sweet things and like lowers his guard.
Blatantly lies.
Yeah, blatantly lies. And then she's just blatantly lying, being all like, Jodie asked for you specifically. No, she didn't. If anything, Jodie deliberately said for him not to not come. So
like we hear that from her.
Yeah. She's like literally anyone but him. And then M'Baku, don't know his name. I'm just gonna call him M'Baku. M'Baku literally says we don't have anyone. So
yeah, this is all you got.
Yeah, and Jodie just has to live with it. But that's later.
Yeah.
But like. And then I also put down that we had the entirety of Act 1 of this movie before the opening credits, which I wouldn't have done if you didn't mention while we were watching it, because I remember you were all like, wow, these happened really late.
Yeah, they do. It's like, usually, I don't know, I'm used to it within like the first 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, because we had like,
I think we were like,
15?
we were pretty far in for opening credits. And I also wrote down...
Act 1 was decently short.
That they played Thunderstruck, and I was like, it would be Thunderstruck.
Yeah,
they would play Thunderstruck, and it was so funny, but it fits so well because I feel like the caricature that Ryan Gosling usually portrays is like, he's sometimes he's so painfully sarcastic, but it's so charismatic. Since you just know him and you love him.
Yep.
Whether he's Ken or if he's Colt, it's just so it had to be Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
So I digress.
I love Ryan Gosling and M'Baku. I'm just gonna call Jodie, Gale, and Tom by their names at this point.
Fair enough.
Because it's like the whole main cast.
Yeah.
But no, I love Ryan Gosling and M'Baku's relationship because like the moment they see each other and they start quoting movies.
Yeah. That's my exact next note.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love how that continues. I didn't write down every movie they quoted. I don't think I wrote down any movie they quoted. I just wrote down that they were quoting movies, and then or M'Baku would, and then Ryan Gosling would be all like,
that's that. He's like, come on.
Yeah, and then they had a little handshake. Like,
it's a fun dynamic.
It's a cool way to establish a relationship.
Yeah.
I didn't put a note on this, and I should have. The deep fake, because the deep fake comes up later.
Yeah.
And that was part of like the whole plan. And it just flashed in my head.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
But like literally right before he meets M'Baku.
The facial capturing that thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good foreshadowing.
It is. Now that you mention it.
Ungodly levels of foreshadowing.
Especially because at that point it's still kind of like cinematic, and it's like it's Ryan Gosling, and you would just think that it's like, oh cool, they're taking a bunch of headshots. He's the fall guy, but then the music stops, and then he's like, oh, this actually wasn't about you. Moving on, and we're like, oh okay. So it kind of like stunts the momentum of the intro, I think, for him. But it feels like it makes sense and it's necessary because it's not about him. That's not what they're doing. It's not for him. So that's kind of how I interpret it, and I thought it was really cool that they did that.
Yeah. Um, my next note is because after that we get to meet Jodie again, or
Yeah.
for the first time. I don't know, because like
Well, we meet her for the first time, where it's like
we meet her post accident for the first
yeah,
time, but
with
like
that single long shot.
yeah,
might I
because
add?
like she's in the intro. I don't think she has any lines.
Or
in
when
the
she's
intro.
trying to comfort him on the gurney,
Oh, that's right.
and
yeah,
they're
she
like, "You're
does.
not helping," and I was like, "Damn."
Yeah, I remember that now.
Hmm.
But she's talking about the design. I hate the guitar gun.
It looks
It
really
looks
bad.
so dumb. It
Yeah.
looks so dumb.
I completely agree.
As a sci-fi fan, I hate that. I hate that design. Now, as a fan of this movie, it's so perfect.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
perfect how bad it is because of how much I love this movie.
And how like
It
fantastical
fits so well.
the fictional movie feels.
Mhm.
It kind of they're like over sci-fiing it. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Intentionally,
agree.
and it was really good. It was really
Yeah,
funny.
they took Jodie's instructions of what was it like hard like what'd she say it was because like the designer was just all like you told us like hard metal or something like and
I
that
can't
they
recall.
yeah they were talking about like how like it needed to feel like metal music quote unquote.
Oh, they kind of and they took that and ran.
And they took that way too literally.
Yeah. Which eventually, again, they just used it later on too.
It just worked.
It just worked
later,
which I really like.
That's another instance of foreshadowing, and this movie just because like these guns were part of the climax.
Because Tony Stark always learns from his mistakes.
That's so.
Never forget.
Never forget.
Speaking of meeting Jodie again, I kind of gave a little blip, but I loved that single long shot without any cuts.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good.
I didn't notice that was a long shot until you mentioned it, and then it like clicked in my head, like just like a light zone.
It was just nonstop,
Yeah.
and I don't know, it felt good.
No, it's good. Yeah, panning shots are really good. I love panning shots.
Agreed. And I like that it followed her around. It felt kind of like not stressful, but I could see how one would interpret it as it's like, oh, everything's boom, 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 boom. There's no time for cuts because it's something here and then something there, and it immediately has to draw your attention and move your momentum, your neck, and all that stuff.
Right.
So I really liked that one scene.
Right, I agree. I really liked it too. And that was the same scene where they talked about how the script wasn't completed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is just something I wrote down in general. And it's mostly just my own personal commentary on like how real life and how things are currently filmed, both in TV and movies. But I love that they made it apparent that the script wasn't completed. Because I'm like, I love when the script shouldn't have to be completed before filming starts. And I feel like, because like nowadays, especially in the TV climate, they wait until, like, for example, the one action I can't talk. The live action One Piece show. Don't know why I said the one action live piece.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. But for that example, they waited until after season 1 aired, and now they're just filming season 2. But season 2 and 3, etc., or Invincible, they waited until all of season 1 was out to greenlight 2 and 3.
I see.
I find that annoying because in the past, for example, with The Walking Dead, my favorite TV show of all time.
Yep.
They had 3 seasons right from the get-go.
Damn, like written?
And that not necessarily written, but
planned
greenlit
out.
and
Oh,
planned
wow.
out. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how TV shows used to be picked up. And movies, for example. They'd be like, oh, you want to make a movie series? Okay, we're going to do a movie series, and we're going to plan out a movie series. Nowadays, they wait to see how the first one does. And if it does bad, they're going to course correct. Because nowadays, everything is a huge... it's just a huge cinematic universe, like Marvel.
Oh my goodness.
Or the MonsterVerse.
And you have to think about how this is going to tie with that and all that such.
Which I do like connected universes, but like I also can't stand them sometimes. I'm happy The Walking Dead turned into an expanded and connected universe. They film multiple shows at the same time and greenlit all of their current shows for multiple seasons at the start. So I like what AMC is doing with The Walking Dead currently. But like with Star Wars shows, for example, the next season of Mandalorian, season 4, has not started filming yet, and because they waited to see how season 3 did, and I'm like, that shouldn't be. We should not be waiting for the previous stage before we move on. We should be starting the next stage while the previous stage we're still gathering data for it. And I feel like in this movie, when they were like, "Oh, the third act isn't completed," I just had like relief. I'm just like, this is how things should be.
Yeah, it feels like more realistic, you think, or what?
I feel technically both ways are realistic because they both happen in reality. Realistic isn't necessarily the word I use. It makes sense in that sense, but like, it feels right.
Okay.
It feels more right.
Okay.
Because rewrites and reshoots, etc. Like, we just watched a Captain America 4 trailer just right outside.
Yeah.
That movie had reshoots.
Oh, really?
Giancarlo Esposito was originally not in the movie. And they just casted him recently. So they did a bunch of reshoots to add him to the movie. Which is probably why the trailer is coming out. Actually, I'm surprised it's coming out now because the movie doesn't come out till next February. That's besides the point.
Yeah.
But like reshoots, rewrites, they always happen, and they should happen in the process, in my opinion. So we don't have to wait. Things don't have to be delayed, and we don't have to wait years for the next piece of content. Because, like, as an audience, as part of the audience, if I was waiting for Metal Storm, right? Because I'm excited for Metal Storm.
Okay.
The movie Jodie's making, right? I don't want to wait for the script to be completed and then for them to start filming. I would just want them to start filming, and if they have to write the rest of the story in the middle of the movie, then they should.
Good point. Yeah.
Because, like, if you have 5 pages of a script, you should be able to start filming. You have enough of your script to start filming.
Right.
And you just have to write the rest as filming continues. Right?
Yeah.
So, I was just so relieved hearing that. That's just like a little side rant. It has very little to do with the movie, but the movie just made me think of that.
No, I mean that's a very interesting perspective. As someone who hasn't studied film or the performing arts as much as you do, I love that little rant.
Thank you.
I feel like I learned a little bit. Insider tips.
Yeah.
From the man himself.
When it comes to things that I love, I mean, you know this from a lot of things. I was gonna say Epic the Musical, Demon Slayer, Halo, but I'm like, I could just literally keep going. If I like something, I like to dive head first into it, and I want to know every single thing. Behind the scenes, during the scenes, in front of the scene, all of it. Give me all of the juicy information.
And speaking of the process, I like that term that you used because it felt like, I like how much of the movie felt like the process. Only till the end did we see even the trailer for the film.
True.
But a majority of it was, tomorrow we're going to record this.
Trailer too.
Yeah, because they did a recast.
They had to do a recast for Tom Rider because he's, evil.
Yeah.
He's not evil. He's just a heavily flawed person.
Yeah.
Gale is evil. I would call Gale evil.
Gale is evil and so painfully English. That's one of my notes.
Sorry,
I was like, Jesus.
Sorry to all of our British fans.
Oh my goodness.
But those are all the thoughts that I had on that pan shot scene.
Yeah, no, it was really fun.
Okay.
And I like that when they reconvene. I think this is a little bit later, after they've had their bickering on set and being like I have written down in quotes because I thought it was really funny, where they were kind of bickering and Jodie's like, I didn't approve him, and Ryan Gosling goes, she didn't approve me.
Yeah,
he's so funny.
I wonder how much of that was improv.
I could only imagine. Yeah.
Like, I'm sure in the script, Jodie is supposed to say, I didn't approve him, but I feel like Ryan Gosling added, she didn't approve him.
Yeah,
like
that
God. Feels like a Ryan Goslingism.
It does. And it's so good.
I also want to know how much of Ken is improv from the movie.
That'd be a fun little deep dive. But as a, parallel to that, I like that when when they get to the fire stunt moment and he just keeps going into rock and Jodie takes that opportunity to be like, hey, this is how I've been feeling.
Yeah.
I like I kind of like that she put him on blast because
He's my
it's
next
like
no.
it's humorous, it's a little funny, but I also like that eventually Colt is like very serious, or like not very serious,
It's like
but
when he gets the megaphone, he's pretty serious.
he's
I
opening
think.
up.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as rewarding
And
or
that's the
cathartic
start.
as it is. Yeah, exactly. As it is in the later scene.
It's part of that thumbs up motif because he
Yeah,
always gives
exactly.
the thumbs up. Oh, I wrote down the next thumbs up. We skipped the car flip scene, but I don't have a lot.
Ah.
I literally have virtually nothing on that. That's just the next thumbs up. Is he does the
The
thumbs
car
up
flip
coming
scene,
out of the
yeah.
car flip. Anyways, and then he does the thumbs up motif again. That comes up again while he's talking and being set on fire.
Oh
a bunch.
yeah, that's right.
Because like he's just like, yeah, I'm good.
Mhm.
So I like the crumbling of his deflection.
Yeah.
It starts there.
Yeah.
Like you were saying.
It's the beginning of his opening up, and kind of like
And it is satisfying, I think.
and it's
I'm
far
happy
more
starting
rewarding
out,
later
yeah.
too.
It's far yes.
It's like
and I do
he
love
gets to it.
how every time they talk about Metal Storm and its plot, it's literally just their relationship.
Yeah,
That's
Jody's just like
that's
hint
my,
hint.
That is. We just talked about my next like 4 or 5 notes.
Nice.
But yeah, that is what am I trying to say? Shoot. That's cool. I like that Metal Storm mirrors the relationship.
Yeah.
It's a very obvious metaphor, but it's still a very good metaphor. For a movie like this,
Yeah.
the metaphor doesn't need to be that hidden or that deep. So I like that it's at the forefront and like the movie doesn't pretend that it's not there, and it's like this is literally what we're doing.
Dude, and Jody literally being like, yeah. And then the super hot alien girl had a lot of fun and a lot of flings. Like, don't you remember, girls? Like talking to the
Yeah,
other
and then-
crew members. And they're like, yup, we
Yup,
remember that.
We remember that.
It's
That
so
was
funny.
I forgot about that part, but that is funny.
I just love it so much.
Yeah.
How, especially like as a quick little tangent, as a creator myself, musically, it's like a lot of what I write sometimes doesn't even have to tend to be what I'm feeling in that moment. It can just be reminiscent of a way I felt at some point. Or it can also be like what Jody's doing, where it's like, this is exactly what I'm going through right now. I'm just going to make it rhyme.
Right.
And like put some boop-a-da-boops behind it. And
You're
so-
still working on that one song about your most recent ex, about like what was it, like fields? He's not gonna listen to this. He's never gonna hear that.
That's fair. Yeah, I am.
Okay.
That's like an example, but
Yeah.
I like
He
I
told
like
me
when
that like
creators.
he couldn't listen to this, just because.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's
I
a
don't know
little
if
Blockbuster
that
Banter.
was before you guys started texting again, so
Oh, we did.
that
Okay.
might change.
Fair enough.
If you're watching this, hi.
Anyway, Fall Guy.
Nothing happened. I said nothing.
Let's see. What do we have going on
But
next?
I do agree. It's fair enough. My next bit was like Ryan's confrontation with Gail in the apartment, or not the apartment, the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I just like that scene. I think it's cute that he uses the coffee maker.
And it doesn't fucking
And
work.
it doesn't work.
And he's just
then
so
she comes in,
disappointed.
she's all like, oh yeah, don't use that. It's broken. And then he's all like, really?
And then again, she does like manipulation. If it was a class, that would
To
probably
get
be
her-
like
to get him to go find Tom.
she'd be like a graduate professor.
Yeah.
For manipulation, honestly,
I agree.
because she plays on so hard and how
Yeah.
Colt is just a huge sip.
And yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he'll do anything for Jody. So
It's respect.
which is why when he says have a crush on the director, I'm like, you don't. You're 100%,
madly in love with her.
You are madly in love with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just deflecting.
Yeah.
Oh, I hit the mic. Whoops.
As he is continuously trying to do.
But since we know spoilers for the end of the movie, we never give a spoiler warning until like the most random pop.
Yeah, the middle.
It's okay. But since she's just framing him, right,
Mm-hmm.
for what Tom did, Tom's murder.
Yeah.
Like it's smart to just be all like, hey, we're gonna put this quest here, and you're gonna get Jody if you save her movie.
Yeah.
So
Kind of like guiding him
yeah,
away from the actual shooting, so they keep like the several times that she's trying to just weed him out after being like, oh, maybe this wasn't a good idea, because I feel like it kind of starts since from the get-go, because obviously they're still trying to frame him and just bringing him for that purpose.
Yeah.
So maybe when I think that when she sees that Jodie's like still trying to rekindle that flame, that she's like, oh fuck, oops, gotta get this guy out of here. Which one of my favorite rekindle scenes toward the beginning is when Colt gets in his truck and All Too Well is playing.
Yes,
that is so fucking funny.
That is the note after this, because my next note is after he accepts the quest.
Oh yeah.
The random dude gives him the truck keys. He's just like, I know what kind of the people you stunt guys are. You seek to destroy all my whole deal.
I have that too. That's so fucking funny.
I wrote that down. But yeah, and then that's just a funny line that I liked. But like you said, All Too Well being used, it's so good. I did write down that the first time that I saw this movie, I think it was because All Too Well was playing. And that song's about Jake Gyllenhaal. I like blanked and thought Ryan Gosling was Jake Gyllenhaal. I didn't think he was Jake Gyllenhaal. I thought Ryan Gosling was Taylor Swift's ex.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
I just forgot Jake Gyllenhaal existed.
So you were like, why are they playing this song about him right now?
Yeah. And I think I realized, because then Jodie comes into the car, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I wasn't listening to Taylor Swift. And then he starts opening up a little bit more again.
Yeah, it's creeping up.
Yeah. And
their one-on-one moments are so sincere because I feel like that's what helps him start to get out of his shell.
Trucks and Goda, that's my next note.
Yeah, and then towards the end, or as the movie progresses, it takes less of those one-on-one moments for him to feel comfortable. I feel like it just comes out of him more naturally by the time he has that really big cathartic release over the phone, which is later put there. And Jodie is so rightfully frustrated with his stubbornness.
100%, yeah.
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 Of him deflecting, him starting to open up, her being like, okay, and then boom, deflection. She's stops. Like, okay, drive me to my car now. Oh yeah, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Drive me to my car now. And it's like a little...
And then he gives a thumbs up.
It's like 5 feet away.
Yeah.
And then he drives off playing All Too Well again.
That was my next note. The All Too Well joke is just really funny in general. That was when I realized Jake Gyllenhaal is a real person. I'm a big fan, Jake Gyllenhaal. Please don't ostracize me. He's probably never gonna see this.
Whoa, Jake Gyllenhaal, the real Jake Gyllenhaal just commented on Blockbuster Banter.
But who's Ryan
Gosling?
Oh.
Did you write down Ryan in your notes?
Every other time in my notes, it's Ryan Gosling, full name. So I just read Ryan. I thought it was a movie character.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, and then we get to Tom's, what is that, like?
The loft, I guess. It's huge. It's
gigantic.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So I guess it's a loft. Reminds me of New Girl.
His little loft. I like that he it shows how he feels about Tom, because we haven't really gotten a lot of that relationship.
Yeah.
Literally before this moment, all we got is, I'll go find him, and the thumbs up at the beginning between the two. So now we get to see Ryan Gosling and Tom's relationship, and like the first thing Ryan Gosling does is fake a conversation.
Yeah,
that paints
I was thinking about that
to make Tom look like a fucking asshole. Because that's literally kind of it. Like
it's like, oh, you're a bitch. That's what a bitch would say. And I really liked that scene. I thought it was really funny.
My next note is, I think I would love it that there's just this random lady in Tom's apartment with a katana, and she tries to kill.
And it just comes out of nowhere too.
And granted, it is a blunt katana, like they mentioned later.
It's a movie prop, yeah.
Yeah, it's a movie prop, so it's not actually gonna. I just think it's really funny.
But for what reason are you just like, just ruining this person's apartment? And I really like, there's so many little parts of that scene that are really funny, like him or the sword getting stuck in the wall and then the hilt comes off, or like him saying like, oh, I'm working on Metal Storm 2, and she's like, they were only on the first one, I meant also. Yeah, that's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, we love putting lines of the movie in the description, and you said that yours is gonna be
I meant also,
and mine is going to be...
you seek to destroy everything?
Yeah, you seek to destroy everything I hold dear. I didn't take a lot of notes on the next couple bits, but that is just because this was just like the cool action moment.
Yeah. One of
From
them.
here all the way to the end of the drug dealer choreography is like literally one note.
Really?
I don't have a lot for those parts.
I had a few, because I also had that.
I like the foreshadowing for the boat stunt.
Yeah, that's one of them actually.
Yeah.
That's one of mine where he mentions he could do this stuff with his hands tied behind his back.
Yeah, while they're getting the jacket. And then he goes to the drug dealer.
And my first note for the club scene is Justin Bieber looking ass.
Yeah, I remember
because I mentioned that Ryan Gosling was dressed just like him.
Justin Bieber looked like because I live under a rock.
It's just Ryan's like the long, I guess, trench coat and then the beanie. I was like, that's JB, man. That's him in the flesh.
Justin Bieber.
And then Ryan gets hella drugged.
2 notes for that. My first one was a quote from the drug dealer where he's just all like, "How come no one wants to chat with the drug dealer?" And I put, "Because you deal drugs and you drug Ryan, the Goblin." That's why no one wants to chat with the drug dealer.
Yeah, and he drugged the fuck out of him.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then my next thing is I love the drugged fight choreography. I think it's so much fun how it speeds up and returns to normal speed as he it's like almost like a slow motion punch. Speeds up, the impact is made, and then it's normal speed through the end.
It kind of reminded me of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
How, like, theatrical and like comic-y, where it'd be like blam or wham and that type of stuff.
Every single time there was a hit, there was an effect, just like in Scott Pilgrim.
It was so... Oh, I really loved that scene.
Yeah, that whole section with the chase, too, is really fun.
And I like how he used he like hyped himself up to be a stuntman and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna stop this car. I'm gonna stop this car." He puts his mouth guard in because what does he do best? One of those things would definitely include crashing into a car with his body. And so I loved how he used his skills and his expertise, which I assume also helped him with the fighting because he would have to choreograph for fighting. So he held his own pretty well against a person who, for all he knew, had a real fucking katana, for one, but also people who were actively trying to like actually cause him harm.
Yeah. I would like to say, I only got 27 minutes. I got 2 more pages of notes. We should probably...
Okay.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Because I feel like a lot of what we have to say is kind of stuff we've already said.
Fair enough.
But just that way we can get through the whole movie.
Okay. What do you got next? Okay, so I like how...
I had like a chunk of notes that I'm just going to condense into one. I joked about the unicorn. I love the unicorn joke. It's really funny.
I like him seeing himself in the mirror as the unicorn.
Yep. And then while he's in the hotel room after this, oh yeah, you didn't notice it. The body on ice foreshadowing. The usher for the hotel said that there's a body on ice.
Oh, yeah. That completely went over my head.
Yeah.
Are you Kevin? Can I get a fruit platter?
Yeah.
Is that what I do? I thought that scene was really funny. My favorite takeaway from that sequence was the split screen.
Yep, that's
that
my
they
next
did.
note.
I adored it so much. The parallel in their movement, the contrast and the lighting between the two characters.
Them also, once again, describing the entire metaphor.
Of their whole relationship. Was like, maybe Cowboy wants to try again.
Yeah.
Or some shit.
Maybe you want to see the line blur and these two to be in the same world once again. And I'm all like, you're right, I do.
And I like how excitedly she's coming out of her shell. Because
because she's heavily hinting that she's wanting to try again.
And like in the not the very next scene, but like the very next chunk-ish, when they're at the Sydney, I think it's the Opera House or whatever that place is called. How she's like excited.
One of the final battles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's just like she's come out of her shell. She's super excited. She's opening up and she's having excitement with this person that she like felt such disdain towards and had such bad memories towards.
She was happy to see him again.
Yeah,
and the split screen heavily helped that, I think.
That, like for me personally, that was a very like real thing, and I was like, this feels like what happened.
I agree.
And it was very nice to see.
Yeah, that's like roughly the halfway point of the movie, because the next bits and pieces I have is like just all this, because like after the filming, and we see their relationship evolve even more. We meet the dog sitter. We get more leads. The karaoke thing happens. Gail continues to be a manipulative bitch.
Which I like that she doesn't make it Ryan's fault. That's one point that I really liked.
Especially because she's noticing Jodie. You said this earlier, and it made me want to add more to our previous conversation that we had at your apartment. But when Jodie is like once again having feelings for Ryan, and Gail is realizing she wants it to be. She doesn't want it to be Ryan's fault, so that that Jodie thinks Gail is on Jodie's side.
Yeah, especially with her being like, I thought you wanted him gone anyway. That's why I got him to fight.
Exactly.
So wow, I didn't realize how well she was manipulating both people individually without them realizing it from each other.
Yeah, I only realized how much better it was when you mentioned that Jodie was
Gail?
falling more. Stares directly at the camera. But yeah, I do love the whole action sequences too with Ryan Gosling.
And the little goon squad.
Yeah, the goon squad and cute attack dog. That is my note.
Yeah.
Cute French attack dog.
Oh, that scene was crazy with like the trash can or whatever the hell it was, that metal.
The garbage truck?
Yeah, the metal bin.
Yeah.
That as it was just cruising along the streets of fucking Australia.
I love that it passed by the thing. I also really liked Jodie's song. It's cool.
Yeah. Oh, such a good Phil Collins song.
Yeah. And then how all of the garbage truck stuff immediately led into him and M'Baku teaming up to go to Tom Ryder's apartment.
Yeah.
To continue this lead. To get his phone password.
And I love that encounter
because they did the sticky note thing earlier. They did that joke earlier. And that joke ended up being important.
Yeah, because you use it to find the password.
Yep. And then they find the password. The goons show up. That was also just another really cool fight.
We see the framing too. We see the reason behind Ryan actually being there. The fact that Tom killed someone like an idiot. Boat stunts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then this is my only criticism of the movie. And the part that just doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
Once they open the phone and they get to see what actually happened and Tom accidentally killed the other stunt guy, that's when Ryan immediately recognizes him.
Oh yeah, instead of in the hotel.
Yeah, and I get it. He was under stress in the hotel. Like, literally just saw a dead body and drugged. But like, if you can recall it later, I feel like you'd know then.
Yeah.
He was also kind of coming down at that point.
That's true. If he had enough like mental fortitude to have that conversation with Jodie and then go to the police.
Yeah, he had a lot of mental fortitude for somebody who was really high.
That's true. That's true. So
like I do feel like he should have been able to recognize his.
That's a good point.
Like, if they knew each other for 2 days, fine. But they were both Tom Ryder's stunt doubles. They both worked together in all of Tom Ryder's films. Yeah. So
it is a little interesting.
So it's a weird way to convey that relationship and to convey Ryan Gosling's reaction to
very fair. Very fair.
That's my only criticism in the movie is I feel like that was a bit poorly handled. Yeah.
Fair enough.
The recognition of who was killed.
But at least all the action scenes, like you were mentioning, that whole action sequence before Ryan gets captured.
And he was using like movie props to fight the goons. That was so cool. That was so interesting, and I loved it.
And I loved that. I like that they lose there because obviously we're only halfway through the movie, so there's a whole bunch left.
Yeah.
But like some of my favorite notes from that moment is, when Tom was talking about some bullshit where he's like, gotta cut out carbs, and then frustrated Ryan Gosling is like, you need that. Your brain runs on glucose.
Yeah. Yep.
That's one of my favorite quotes.
Was so funny.
It's hilarious. But then right after that, when he was getting poured with gasoline, Ryan Gosling genuinely looked terrified. He was like,
he did such a good
looked
job.
like he was sad. He was about to get burned alive. He was like, fuck.
And you mentioned this during the movie. What was it that he said? He like said something. I also have that note. When he almost says he has so much desperation, especially when he's like shouting.
Yeah.
But like, him shouting. You mentioned that you wonder if he had that plan so that they would gag him.
Oh yeah. So that they would pour the gasoline in his mouth, which he would then use to light Big Boy on fire.
Which that was cool. I like to think he had that plan.
Me too. I would too.
I would like to think that was part of the plan.
Of course.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have a way to get out. And then boat stunt.
Oh,
the foreshadowing for boat stunt was so cool.
Yeah, because then he does it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Ryan Gosling actually did it with his hands tied behind his back, filming.
Probably.
I feel like that's exactly what happened. I'm sure it was a lot safer than doing it in the harbor.
Yeah, yeah.
And when he fakes his death and like calls Jody,
Oof.
that was really sad, and that was like the biggest turning point. And finally, we get the explanation that I've been waiting to do for the thumbs up motif, which, like he mentioned, while you're being trained to be a stunt guy, you train to take it all.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's true for all stunt guys, but that is definitely true for Ryan Gosling in this case. That like he took that as, not only do I have to take all the physical pain, I have to take all the emotional, mental pain too.
I feel like it happened at such a good point in the movie as well.
Always had to do thumbs up, and there was no thumbs down.
It happened at such a great position within the movie. A good amount left.
I agree. Yeah, because like, we had like half hour at this point left.
Yeah, something like that actually.
Yeah, and then he's like dead. Also, the slow rendition of "I was made for loving you, baby."
Oh yeah, all the remixes that are throughout the song.
Made for loving me. They had like 2 or 3 remixes throughout the whole movie. And then the original. At
that point, it was my favorite because it felt kind of Skyfall.
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, this feels so nice.
I agree.
But then right after, I like how quickly.
Now we're back at the studio.
Yeah, and now we get Jodie, and she gets to get what she like wants and what she needs, which is Ryan back. So she gets to hear it, and she doesn't actually lose him, which I love.
Yep,
and then from there, it's just falling action. We got to throw everything at these people. Everyone's got to fight. Everything's got to reveal.
I did write down that him identifying with the thumbs up was so cool.
Yeah, that was him.
A way to continue that motif.
Even after death.
Yeah, and then the other 2 notes I had right before that, before we move on, I like that the deepfake came back to frame Ryan.
Yeah.
After his death, and then I also like how this was before the boat scene. I think I might have forgotten to take notes on it, but I remember it. They're watching like clips of Tom Ryder acting, and he like he looks at the camera and he's just like, dude, what is all this shit, right? Like, and they're like, do they realize he's being recorded? And that comes back later when he the climax.
Reveals just to himself or to the people in his own mic, because he's mic'd up and it's not. What is it? Indictment? I don't know what the term is
he was just all like, this is entrapment.
Yeah, that thing.
And then no, it's not. He's the one wearing the wire.
It's you.
Yeah. I love the kiss that they finally had.
Yeah.
Right before the 3rd act. And I really like how the whole cast comes together.
The whole stunt team.
Yeah, the whole stunt team.
Which I mentioned to I kind of was like, these are civilians. I don't know how down I'd be if I was on a stunt crew and they were like, this guy killed someone. Can you help us apprehend him? I'd be like, do you want to call someone for that?
See, I know that's your stance. My stance on this is, that's badass. Let's do it.
Who are we gonna kill?
Who we beat up?
Yeah.
I need to stop hitting the mic.
Yeah.
Which, that's fair. Yours is much more logical.
Yeah.
I've told you a lot about my life and the crazy stuff I've done.
Very fair. Very fair.
Teaming up with the stunt crew to beat the crap out of the lead actor and the producer and their goons.
And that random, the helicopter pilot too, I'm sure he knew what he was getting into kind of, but then imagine getting shot and be like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know, he was probably terrified.
Even though
the entire 3rd act was just so much fun.
It was.
I wrote down stunt crew versus goons, best fight. Random as fuck.
Yeah.
Best fight. So funny.
It really was.
So funny. But back to the helicopter thing. I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah.
Gail was crazy.
She was so ready to shoot bitches.
Because like at this point, Tom has already admitted to doing the murder.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm gonna just kill everyone.
Yeah, with these 6 bullets,
everyone.
might I add.
Yeah. That's so cool that Ryan Gosling counted.
You're out, and then let's go, and then epically falls down onto the mat, and then he kisses.
It's on my last page of notes, actually.
He gets the girl.
Oh yeah, and then when Jodie beat the crap out of the one goon
with the electric guitar, the metal guitar,
and then she's all like, "I like this design."
Yeah,
like that was cool.
It's so good.
That. The helicopter fight was fun. I like how Ryder wouldn't kill Ryan.
Yeah, he's like, he's the best fucking stuntman I've ever had, or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what's up. I like his. It's not a redemption per se, but I like it.
Ryan counting bullets like Deadpool for real.
Oh, yeah. That is a cool, fun Deadpool scene.
The flip off fall, we did that. And then the end of the movie, we finally get to see the trailer for Metal Storm. I'd watch Metal Storm.
I would too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love how Jason Momoa replaces Tom Rider because they had the joke earlier in the movie with the sticky notes. If it was, is it Jason Momoa? Or
Momoa. Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
And then normally I don't write stuff down for the credits, but I love that the outtakes is just the cast doing stunts.
Mm-hmm. And I like how within the trailer we see that Jodie ended up using the split screen.
Yep.
Which is
Yep.
like
So like everything came back.
everything that was mentioned like had its further use in the movie.
I agree.
Which I loved. It happened throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. And then
there's the epilogue, which I don't know if you saw it in theaters, but it's just Ryder getting apprehended and then he tries to run away, but then I think he blows the fuck up. Now that I remember, I think he tried to make a phone call or he tries to drive in a car, but there was some cellular signal that activated an explosion, and I think he gets got. I might be mistaken.
Oh my god, I need to like go to the end of the movie and watch it because I didn't realize there was stuff after all that, so I just assumed the movie was over.
Yeah, it was the fall guy from the show being like, "All right, we got you," or some shit like that.
Gotcha, that's what you mentioned on our way out. But
and then I'm pretty sure Ryder blows the fuck up. Which is a crazy ending for a movie that was already so crazy.
Before we move on to our finale parts,
oh,
I didn't talk about how the title is a double meaning. I put it in my notes, but like, because Ryan Gosling is the fall guy for Tom Rider's plan, and he's also the fall guy stunt guy.
Yeah.
Which I love that is. That's the double meaning for the title.
Yeah.
That's cool. This movie has a lot more thought put into it
than one would expect.
Based off of. I need to mute my phone while we're recording. This is the second week in a row this has happened.
Yeah, the double meaning.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the movie. I think we're ready. We're ready for. Where would you put it? For me, it's an easy
Top
A.
S tier.
Top S tier.
Top S tier.
Like S plus or S?
Just S.
Oh, okay.
It's not. Yeah, it's not S plus. S plus was Interstellar, right?
Yeah.
Should I put it there?
Yeah.
Yeah, S plus tier. It's not going in my S plus.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Definitely S tier. For top of S tier. Very top of S tier. I like it more than Inside Out.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, it's an A tier. It's within the same realm of. I would say I liked the Inside Out saga more because it made me feel a lot more. But
that's so fair.
I enjoyed the shit out of this movie.
That's so fair. That's fair.
So much.
Yeah.
So that leaves one thing.
Now for Blockbuster, smash or pass. The big bearded goon with the yellow jacket.
Smash. Easy smash. Love a bearded man.
The dog sitter.
Smash. Pretty cute.
M'Baku.
Hard smash. Easy.
Yeah, I agree. Emily Blunt.
Hard smash.
Also hard smash.
Easily. And now, okay.
Gale.
Oh, I forgot about.
I literally, I'm passing.
Oh, I'm jumping off a bridge.
It's a bit more than a pass, but
No, I'm kidding.
I respect the hustle.
Okay, now we're down to the last two, and I think there's an easy first place, which we can do.
There's an easy first place. We'll do first place and second place.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
3, 2, 1. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
We're done.